We're now joined by Business Unity South Africa President Sipho Pityana. Good evening, sir. Thanks very much for your time. Well, former President Jacob Zuma is quite incensed that all of you at that gathering that you hosted, you sitting alongside the president, are accusing him of wasting 9 years of South Africa's life. How dare you?
Well, it's commendable that, first of all, that the president and the leadership of the ANC, reflected in Minister Tito Mboweni and many others, acknowledge that the Zuma years were dreadful years for South Africa, and it was a mistake. The president was quite unequivocal in his commentary about that. It's something that I'm on record as having said previously, and I don't think that anybody would be surprised. I saw the president's long statement. It didn't look like a Twitter to me. It looked like a very detailed account of what his achievements over the past 9 years were. This is somebody who doesn't have a sense of reality.
But doesn't he have a point, though, at least to the extent that he didn't run that cabinet alone? He had tens, of people who belonged to the organization you have just mentioned, the African National Congress. He had a legislature full of 400 people, a majority of whom clapped, laughed, and seemed to enjoy the things he was doing and found nothing wrong with what he was doing. To that extent, doesn't he have a point?
Bottom line is that in terms of our constitutional framework, cabinet serves at the pleasure of the president. At the end of the day, accountability rests with him. And we're talking here about the mess that was carried out in the state system. It doesn't matter who directed him to do it. At the end of the day, he carries the responsibility. There's no...
and so do those he served with in his cabinet, including the current president.
In my view, at the end of the day, if there's a failing in any government department, it is the responsibility of the president to act in a manner that's appropriate. In respect of the president, it is parliament. If anybody failed to act against the president and failed this democracy, it is the current parliament that is sitting in Cape Town. Because this president should have been removed from power much earlier, and I'm on record as having called for that. And I'm happy that there were several attempts at removing him. It's shameful that he was not removed much earlier. We wouldn't be talking about 9 years, we'd be talking about a shorter period of time. The truth be told, though, is that it is 9 wasted years. Nothing of what he says in his letter is defense of the chaos that is created in this country and the setback of the fantastic foundational years that we invested in.
Now, let's talk about the Indaba yesterday. What would you say that Indaba managed to achieve?
Well, at the outset, what we sought to do with Indaba was to reaffirm our commitment to the pledges that we made at the investment conference, at the business, at the job summit, and other engagements that we had with the president. The important thing is that we clearly had a number of other people that didn't have the occasion to participate in those fora, who also came in and committed to what we indicated to the president. There was a detailed discussion about what kinds of things are being done to create jobs in the various sectors of the economy, how to attract investments, and there was an occasion to exchange views with the cabinet ministers that were present in a particular forum to look at how we can shift the regulatory obstacles and burdens that make things difficult to execute some of those things. It has set the tone for a very different partnership between business and government.
Now, I mean, in your welcoming statement, you speak there about the role that business must play specifically. And this was a question I put to your CEO who was here the other day. Are you now any clearer as government, as business, as to what your specific role is going to be, that which will, of course, contribute together with whatever business, government will be coming up with, will hopefully take this country's economy forward?
We are very clear. We think that the space that we have in the positive and open door policy that prevails now in government is that our first duty is to provide intelligence to the executive that here are the opportunities that would enable us to create jobs. Here are the opportunities that would enable us to make for favorable attraction of investment. And these are the things that we would like you, Mr. Government, to put in place and or remove to enable those things to happen. And we reach an agreement and those things are implemented. And we also talked about the need to create a structure of communication between government and business to move away from this continuous talk shop, to monitor each other as to whether the things that we agree to do indeed get done and whether the impact that we promised does get realized.
Okay, that's where we're going to leave it. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much
for coming through. Business Unity South Africa President Sipho Bijan. Let's take